Hey, good morning, good morning, good morning. Hey, beautiful people, how are you? Welcome to today's episode of Bathrobe Moments. Let me move this thing up a little bit, right? The hat's the best part of this. Not all this, this. I'm Loren Harris, and I'm so honored to be here with you today for another great episode with another great guest. I want to say, wow, it's Thursday already. This week has gone kind of fast. What do you think? Let me see. Well, I'm not going to go there yet. I'm going to save that go down the road a piece this morning. So, happy 25th of June. We are just a few days away from July. Big holiday on the way. Yay, 4th of July, which happens to be my birthday. 58 big ones this year. And so, moving along. Last night was a great night here at Bathrobe Moments. We had a special. It was wonderful because for me, it was nice to work behind the scenes. And we had 5 generations of females last night, all talking about generational healing and what they've learned during this pandemic. And it was just phenomenal. It was, if you haven't seen it, if you didn't catch it last night, look for it on the Bathrobe Moments page. It is entitled Generational Healing in the Midst of a Pandemic. And you will also find it on my YouTube channel, Loren Harris. I highly recommend this. It's a great watch. These women, there was a 5-year-old little girl that gave her little take on it. She was just there for a little bit. And then we went all the way through the girl, Jada, I think 17, just finished high school. She's the town queen for her hometown in Michigan, Benton Harbor, Michigan. She talked about, no prom and all this, no graduation, but how she was taking something positive from it. All the way up to a 78-year-old mom who has one child and hasn't been able to embrace him or anything since this all started because he takes it far more seriously than she says she does because he doesn't want anything to happen to his mom. So it was just a wonderful night. Really touched my spirit. So if you have an opportunity, get over and check that out, won't you please? What you just heard ring is the bell of purpose. It means that when you hear that bell, something has come out of our guest's mouth, something has gone on the screen from one of you all, something that we need to take a second look at. Let's circle back around because this was this was something that could change your life. This is something that we need to spend more time talking about. Whatever it is, it means that stand up and take notice. Lean in a little bit closer when you hear the bell of purpose ring, okay? It's a chance for you to also be a part of something greater than yourself. And that's something we all strive to be, whether we acknowledge it or not. So today, I'm really excited about today's guest. I'm always encouraged when I hear about, stories from all of you out there about turning bankruptcy into beauty. That's my new saying. I was thinking about that the other night when I was out working in my yard. I had a spot where there was a tree removed, and for years we just let it sit there, and it was just, then our neighbors got one. We're like, ooh, look at that ugly spot just in the middle of their yard. I was like, oh wait, we have one too. So for the last couple of years, I've been working on building that up with beautiful plants and some perennials and that sort of thing. And so it reminded me of, just like today's guest, how important it is for us, necessary for us, and available to us to turn something that was barren within our worlds, within our lives, into something of prosperity, beauty, and service to others. And today I have a guest. Let me tell you a little bit about him. His pen name is R.K. Mullet. To his friends, he's basically just known as Keith Mullet. He was raised in a small coal mining town in Virginia. Sounds like the start of a good book right there, doesn't it? And while he was a very young child, he was abused. And in order to escape from the abuse, he turned to drugs, as so many do. At the age of 8, he had already started smoking marijuana, and that wasn't enough. So he started experimenting with harder drugs, and for the next 10 years, he was going deeper and deeper into getting stoned or drunk pretty much every day. He was thrown out of school out of his high school. He was thrown out of school. He did everything possible to avoid school. It got to the point, this is interesting, I want to talk about this with him today. He says his teachers would have him sign his test and then take them back unanswered. And when the tests were returned, the questions would be fully answered for him. That's interesting. And at 19, he got married, dropped out of school halfway through his 11th grade year. And at the age of 25, he went back to school where a literature teacher discovered that Keith could read. And she spent a semester and a half teaching him how to read. And then there's other things, but I'm going to let him tell you about it. During, 19, 20 years old, he was just learning how to read, and here he is today, a published author. So I'm going to get him in here. I believe I hear his semi rolling in now. Is that an 18-wheeler? Hello, Keith.
How you doing, Loren?
Good. I'm awesome. And yourself?
I'm doing very well, as a matter of fact, sir. Me and my
Good.
truck's doing fine.
Good. You're an over-the-road truck driver.
Correct.
Okay, awesome. And that's interesting because my birth father was also an over-the-road truck driver. I never got to meet him, but I did get to speak to him on the telephone right before he passed away. Loren, what's the kitty's name? My kitty? Why do you... Oh, she's laying right there. Oh my God, Ethel, you're on TV. That's Ethel. And then there's Lucy, her sister. You know, me and Ethel and Lucy helped me welcome to the stage my sidekick, Miss Lucy McGillicuddy Ricardo. Yeah, so truck drivers. Now, before we get into the book, can we talk a little bit about your upbringing and some of the things that we heard inside of your bio? Are you okay with that?
Sure.
Okay. So, so many of us have that story of abuse when we were children, but there's as many types of abuses as there are colors in the rainbow, if not more. So, if you're comfortable, what kind of abuse did you experience as a child?
Pretty much.
And at the hands of whom? At the hands of whom?
Uncles, aunts. My dad wasn't exactly a nice person when I was growing up. Stuff like that. I mean, I experienced a lot of physical and mental abuse. At first, I was never encouraged to be able to do anything. I was always pretty much told I was never going to amount to crap. Excuse the expression.
No, hey, we keep it real here.
And some sexual abuse from an aunt and an uncle. But whether or not any of my siblings were abused like that, I don't know. I just know what I went through.
Right. I get it. So you said, I was intrigued, believe it or not, when I looked up and I said, that sounds like the start of a good book. A coal in Virginia, right?
Correct.
A coal mining town. Now that's every time I've seen so many movies that start with that, and they're panning up over the mountains, and you see some smoke coming up from a few home chimneys, and you usually, you see. I mean, the picture that I'm painting here.
Exactly,
so, right. And so tell us about that. I've never met anybody that actually came from one of those nook and crannies, if you will.
Well,
that's a different kind of lifestyle in and of itself.
My hometown is called Big Stone Gap, Virginia. Big name, small town. I'll
Big
let you back
Stone
around.
Gap.
That is right.
Wow.
Actually, its biggest acclaim is an author by the name of what? Now I bring it up and I can't even remember the guy's name right offhand.
That's because you're on TV.
Exactly. Pressure, right?
That's right.
But the movie Coal Miner's Daughter was filmed right down a few miles down the road, actually.
Now that makes perfect sense.
I mean, even though she was from West Virginia, we still, at that time when it was filmed, we still had one of the only working camps, coal mining camps, or shanties or whatever you call it. So that's where they filmed it at.
Did your family? Did your family members? I'm sorry. Did your family members work in the coal mining industry at one time?
Yes, my dad was a coal miner. He got his back hurt in the mines and ended up, ending his career as a miner. Several people, throughout my family, worked in the coal mines.
That's dangerous work.
It is. It's very much so. I mean, you're inside basically a man-made cave. It's supported by beams and trusses and stuff like that, and you got a mountain of rock and dirt above you. So it's very dangerous in there. That's not something I ever wanted to do, so I stayed away from it.
Mm-hmm. So was it hard to move away from such a small, intricate family dynamic in town? I mean, how did you dream your way out of there?
Well, my first wife's father and brother-in-law moved down to South Georgia, and being from the small town I was at, there really wasn't a whole lot of jobs, and I was working at Hardee's as a outside cleanup man person, per se.
Mm-hmm.
And they said, hey, look, there's places down here that, there's help wanted signs everywhere. Get down here. So, we did that. Moved down there, and I worked in the a place called Queen Carpet, a manufacturing plant.
Mm-hmm.
And then I went to work for Goodyear. I was a mechanic for Goodyear because I'd been doing mechanic work back home in Virginia and stuff like that, on and off, and driving trucks and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And I got bored out of my mind. I could not work in a factory. I had 12 hours a day just watching machines run, drove me nuts. So I had to get doing something.
So, Keith, you mentioned that you were smoking pot at the ripe old age of 8 years old.
Yes.
Now I remember when I was in third grade, there was a kid named Brian Galbraith who his house was bordered the playground of our school,
right.
Oak Manor Elementary. And during recess, he would climb over his fence and go in the shed and get his Marlboro Reds out and
right.
stand there and smoke a cigarette. And we thought that was something. We were like, oh my God, you know what I mean? But you were smoking pot at 8 years old. Where in the world did you get pot at 8 years old? Who was feeding that to you?
My uncle, my mother's youngest brother. He was into drugs, and he gave me my first joint, as it were. And I used to steal my. I know you noticed that I smoke, but I used to steal my grandmother's Prince Albert in a can, and rolling papers, and roll cigarettes. And like I said, he gave me my first joint, and I was pretty much hooked from that day on.
Are you saying you were smoking cigarettes also at age 8?
Oh yeah, I mean, I had my first chew of tobacco by the time I was 4.
Okay, and that's a lot of that has to do with the world of like the town and all that.
Exactly.
Yeah, they break you in early because a lot of kids start working and doing hard work early.
Oh yeah.
If not in their minds doing other things. Right. I've read a few stories about that. So you said it wasn't long before you moved into harder drugs. So what was the transition? Take us down that path. You went from marijuana to.
I went from marijuana to pure THC, acid, hallucinogens. Got to where I was making my own hash.
At what age?
Oh, good Lord, 12.
Wow. Okay.
Mushrooms. It was nothing for me to go out in the fields and pick mushrooms and make mushroom tea out of it. But I'd cook it down to where it was almost a paste. That way, all I had to do was just, I mean, it's very bitter, but boy, would it get your mind blown. Um,
Wow.
I didn't get into heroin or cocaine because I just,
Good for
I
you.
thought I thought those were the hard drugs. You know,
They are.
they are. I mean, but I was doing everything under the sun other
And at
than
such a
that.
young age.
Exactly.
So
Um,
did you have friends your age that were partaking too, or was this
oh,
something you snuck off and did alone?
oh no. I had friends that actually smoked weed. I mean, none of my friends really knew that I was doing harder stuff than weed until I actually asked 7 of them to help me out, and I'd build a small cabin up in the mountains and that I grew up in, and it had 7 locks on it, and I gave each one of them a key, and they locked me in it for 7 days.
They locked you 7 keys, and they
Yep,
locked you inside the cabin for 7 days.
for 7 days. My instructions were, you do not let me out until you get a plate of food that I've eaten and not thrown away.
Oh, is that because of you were detoxing?
I was going through cold turkey.
Wow, from a combination or one thing in
Oh,
particular?
good Lord, yeah. A lot, I mean, a big combination. I mean, huge.
Wow. How did that turn
Acid.
out? Did you last
Uh,
7 days?
I lasted also. I mean, I tried to get them to open the doors, to let me out, but they wouldn't do it. They just did not do it. I cussed them. I called them every dirty name under the sun. And on the
Wow.
7th day, I had eaten about a half a plate. And then
Wow.
the eighth day, a buddy of mine had the last key. Come back and saw the plate was empty, and he said, "Did you actually eat this?" I said, "You want to bring me another one? I'm still hungry." So he unlocked the door, and I've been clean ever since. I've been clean since I was
Wow.
21. Yeah.
Wow. Wow. That's incredible. That's really, man. How'd you come up with that idea with the 7 lots, please? Because you knew that's so brilliant. Because you knew that if one convinced two and two convinced
Right.
three, they had a lot of convincing to do to get.
Exactly.
It's almost like a jury.
And and actually, I didn't come up with it, but one of my buddies came up with the idea because I'd asked him to, just come up and bring me food, bring me, water and stuff like that, just to make sure that I had, you know, food and water to survive, right?
Right.
And he was afraid that he might give in and open the lock, so he came up with the idea of 7 locks.
Wow.
And
That was
I,
well, and you know, 7 is a divine number.
it very much so is. It's also the day I was born of the month, so I was born on the 7th day of the month. So
Okay, what month?
February, actually, I'm an
February
Aquarius.
7th. So you're born, and it's interesting because I'm looking up right now. There's 7 viewers and 7 hearts. So two
Aw,
sevens are up on my screen right now. How
nice.
interesting.
Very good.
Okay, yeah, it is. So listen. Okay, so at what age now? Let's make the timeline clear. At what age was it now that you're sober for the first time?
Um, I tried getting sober several different times, but by the time when I was 21 was when I actually
That was the
became
7
clean.
locks.
Yeah.
Okay, so 21, which is a multiple.
Yep.
Uh-huh. So 21, you're clean.
Yep.
Now you married early.
Yeah, I got married.
Married young.
I'm married a young lady, from my hometown naturally. I was always raised that you don't drag a girl's name through the mud.
Right.
And, her daddy insisted we got married. So, I did. It wasn't, we stayed together for 10 years. Those 10 years of hell, I wouldn't wish on anyone.
Yeah. Any
But we had
kids?
gotten 2 beautiful kids out of it, out of that
Okay,
relationship.
that's awesome.
Uh, I mean, my oldest boy now, Brad, I think he's 37, getting ready to turn 38, or is it 39? I ain't sure anymore.
Right.
And then
Right.
my oldest daughter, Lacey J, and I'm very
Lacey
proud of.
J.
Yep, Lacey J. She's named after Lacey J. Dalton.
Yeah, the
country
singer.
music artist. Yep.
I know
And
who that is. My first
my
my first gig in radio when I
right,
was I think 22 years old out in LA was at KTLA, Town and Country Radio.
right.
And it was a country station, believe it or not. So,
Pardon.
and I dreaded that job, but I ended up falling in love with country music.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, I was like, oh my God, how did I not know about this? So listen, let me ask you about the time in your life. I found this very interesting in your bio. When you were in school, explain that part where you were saying you would about the signing your tests and giving them back, and they come back with answers. What exactly was going on there?
Well, I wasn't a nice person, and I was very mean, rude, and everything else to my teachers. I mean, when you're sitting there, and the only thing you want to do is you go to school and you get high before you ever get on the school bus, or you get drunk before you get on the school bus, and you go into
Drunk.
class. Yeah, drunk.
Wow.
I mean, me and a buddy of mine, my school bus would stop right dead in front of my house. I literally had to walk 25 feet to the bus. I would walk a
Okay.
half a mile down the road to catch my school bus and meet a buddy of mine, and we'd have a 6-pack of beer before we even got on the bus.
And you were how old when you were drinking a 6-pack of beer before you got on the bus?
Lord, from the time I was like 13.
Wow. Okay. I'm surprised you've never had to deal with alcoholism.
Well, my mom and dad both were alcoholics. I never did develop or become an alcoholic, but I do definitely have a addictive personality.
Yeah.
You know, because of drugs and everything else. I mean, heck, what can you develop other than that, right?
Amen. Mm-hmm.
But I'd get on the bus. We'd drink a 6-pack of beer before we got on the bus. Get on the bus and drink a 5th of liquor in the back seat. Go to school. Go to the smoking area. But back then you could smoke. You had to have permission from your parents, but you could go to the smoking area to smoke. We'd go to the smoking area and light a joint. And then
So at your school there was a smoking area?
Yes, sir.
And your parents would sign off on it?
Yes, sir.
Wow.
I mean, they didn't sign off on it until I was like 16 or 17. They figured out that at that point that it was a moot point trying to get me to quit smoking.
Because you're going to find a way to do it anyway.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, we usually emulate our parents in some form or fashion.
True.
And both my parents smoked. So.
Okay, so back to the test. So the rest of the class is sitting there. The teacher passes out the test.
Right.
Then what happens with you?
Well, she'd pass out the test for everybody. I'd be sitting there either half asleep or with my head on the desk, and she'd come back. The teachers would come by and ask me to sign my name to the test, and I'd sign my name, and they'd take the test right then and there. I mean, they'd never
take
have
it from
answers.
you?
Yeah.
But why did it come back with the answer? So
they had to turn. Teachers have to turn those tests in.
Oh, you're saying they would fill it in as if you took the test?
Correct.
Oh, so then you were progressing through, class to class to class to class, every year, getting promoted, I'm assuming, and not even doing the work.
That is absolutely correct. They wanted me out of their class.
So, and they didn't want to look like a failure.
Exactly.
So that's how you ended up not knowing how to read. At what age was it you started learning how to read?
I was about 20, somewhere in my early 20s, close to 25.
Close to 25. Now let's talk about that, because I used to be a literacy volunteer, and I would tutor people on learning how to read and write. And I had an African American gentleman once who was 78 years old when he was finally learning how to read. And I was just amazed at his stories of how he had raised a family of 5 daughters. He had retired from a factory job, full benefits, pension, everything, owned his own home, and done everything for all those years, never being able to read a single word. And he admitted to me, he says, because you learn to memorize. When he would get promoted at work, he would have people read him whatever it was he was going to get tested on, and say and convince them to give him an oral test, and he would just say he would have memorized everything. I said, well, what about? He said the worst part were things like when you were in areas when they'd go on vacations or whatever, or on the road trips, signs and things that he wasn't familiar with. He said you look at it, and it's like reading another language.
It was. I mean, literally, I could read a little bit. I could read like maybe a 4th grade level, but I really couldn't. Multiple syllable words, I couldn't. I couldn't get them. I remember one time was just going down the road in the car, and road signs like speed check by radar, right?
Right.
And I looked at the sign and said, "Speed chicken." Everybody in the car laughed. They thought it was a joke. It wasn't a dang joke. I actually thought the word said chicken.
How did that make you feel when people would laugh and were aware that you really couldn't read?
Well, they really didn't know that I couldn't.
Oh, they thought you. Okay.
They thought I was just playing around. They didn't know I couldn't read. They didn't figure. They didn't think I could read really great, but they thought I could read good enough. And one of the reasons for that was every time I would hear a word that I did not know, I would ask somebody to tell me what it meant. And then I would practice it and, try to use it 5 times throughout the day, right? In some sort of context. So I ended up with like a senior college level vocabulary, even though I couldn't read. I couldn't spell the words either, My first wife would have to fill out read me the job applications. I'd tell her how to, what to put down, and she'd fill them out.
Wow. How interesting that at mid-20s you still hadn't learned how to read. You were just beginning that. And here you are today, a published author. A real testament to what can be if you really want it. Robert Brooker chimed in and said that, I'm assuming, Robert, you're speaking about one of those smoking corners at school. He said they had one at the high school he went to. But he's from Canada, so
right.
Wow. I mean, it's interesting. I had no idea. And when I was in high school, there were people who smoked. Of course, I wasn't one of them, but there were people who were, and they always were out in one area of the parking lot. They usually had on Megadeth T-shirts, and we referred to them. We referred to them as the Gritters.
The Gritters.
Yeah, we're like, look at the Gritters. You know what I mean? Right.
One of my nicknames in high school was Stoner. So.
Stoner, yeah. That's another one. But listen, I want to set this scene up. We're going to go to a brief commercial break here, and I want to say something. I did some research, but I had heard about this years ago when I was working in radio. I remember in the late 80s, there was a big expose on television about serial killers hiding inside of the over-the-road trucking industry. And then again in 2000, I believe it was the New York Times did an expose, and because I did some research again this morning, and they were it was based on mobile crime scenes in which they explained how the trucking industry was a great way for serial killers to move around the country undetected, and that they were responsible for tons of murders and crimes and kidnappings and rapes near interstate highways. So when we come back, we're going to talk about the book, because you are one of those truckers, hopefully not one of the serial killer ones,
no,
but you're writing about one. And we want to clarify now, we're going to tell you about the book. We're going to come back and talk to R.K. Mullins, the author, about his book, chronicling a serial killer. You guys, do me a favor. Don't go away. Stay put, and we'll be right back. Wow, I just saw in the comments that Robert Brooker said that he started smoking at age 10. Wow, my goodness. Well,
Yeah, everybody can be intelligent, but smokers are stupid.
it's
And
not something,
I still smoke, so I mean that says a lot right there, right?
right? Right. So let's talk about the book. When did you start considering, oh, you know what? I know I learned how to read in my mid 20s, but I think I'd like to write a book. You would think that'd be the last thing you'd be reaching to do, but you've done it. What was the process of talking yourself into really doing it?
Well, actually, it started in '98. Actually, I mean that's when I actually started Time for a Serial Killer. Um, I don't know that I actually talked myself into it. I just had the idea and just started writing. I was bored and was looking
You
for
weren't
something to do.
intimidated
Not really, no.
about
I
your
mean,
limited,
no,
vocabulary and whatnot?
no, I was, I had, I had
Right.
no fear in the world about it. But at the time, I didn't even think I would ever get it published or even finish it
Uh huh.
because, I mean, like I said, I started it in '98. Lost the manuscript a few times. Emailed it to myself. Still lost the Dadburn manuscript. Started another book and did the same thing. In 2012, my youngest daughter, Tasha, she introduced me to a website called Bookricks.
Book what?
Bookricks.
Okay.
And she was putting writing stuff and putting it up there, like little short stories and poems and things like that.
Okay.
So I said, okay, I'll check this out because I want to see what my daughter was into, right? What kind of stuff she's writing. And I just started writing again, and Time for a Serial Killer. And I told a buddy of mine who's a truck driver, and he wanted to read it. So, I told him where to find it at. And every single day, he was always pestering me. I mean, harassing me to get it finished. Because he
Oh,
didn't like
because he had read it up to the point where you were, and he wanted to
right.
know. Uh huh. How
Yeah, but
interesting.
he liked it, and he's like, he kept leaving me on a cliffhanger. When are you gonna write some more? Just constantly badgering me. And if it wasn't for him and my daughter, I probably never would have finished Time for a Serial Killer. But I finished it in 2012, and it sat there. Had like 608 views and a lot of hearts. So I about last year, no, the year before last, I actually got serious about wanting to publish. And, I sent it off to a few publishing houses, never heard a cotton picking word.
Uh huh.
And
Not even a rejection letter.
not even a rejection letter. I
Wow.
mean, no, even though I went, later, I went from learning to read to getting an associate's degree in mechanical engineering and architectural design.
Isn't that something? Good for you.
And I'm 35 credits away from a business degree that I'm never going to finish, and I know
You
I'm
don't
never
know
going to
that.
finish it. Sure,
Really?
I do. Well, I started it in 2005, and I haven't finished it yet.
Yeah, but look how long the book took, and you finished that. You finished that.
That is true. I mean, that
Never
is
say
true.
never.
That
I've learned that at
that
58
that
years old
that is
almost.
absolutely a good rule right there. Never say never. I
Never
love
say never.
that. But last year I actually decided to go with self-publishing. So I went
Okay.
with one self-publishing house and paid quite a bit of money. And they were supposed to edit it, and it got put up on Amazon in February because I wanted it to
Of
launch
this
on my
year?
birthday. Yes, sir. Of
Okay.
this year. Wanted it to launch
Congratulations.
on my birthday. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. When some friends of mine were reading it, and they noticed a lot of errors in it.
Uh-huh.
I decided to pull it off of Amazon because I'm embarrassed, right? And I fired the publishing house and went with the new publishing house that I'm with now, who's done a full-blown copy edit and everything on it. So I'm not going to say it's 100% mistake-free, but
Yeah,
it's probably about as close as you're going to get, right?
that's right. Okay, okay,
Very, the lady who owns the publishing house, she's helped me out a lot. Been a very huge encouragement to me.
okay.
And so
Nice.
we relaunched it back in on June the 1st, and got it up there with put it on Kindle and paperback. And I'm
So, what's the
thinking,
story about?
well, actually, it's 100% fiction. There's no truth to it
Everybody's
whatsoever.
taking. Now you guys can let go of that breath you've been holding. Like how many people you think were out there like, you think he did it? They're looking.
You wouldn't believe how often I get that. Is this? Are you sure this is fiction?
Yeah, yeah, fiction,
Yeah, well,
eh?
somebody would have to be an absolute moron to commit the murders and stuff in this book, and then turn around and write about it.
Let's talk about that. Have you picked up stories from being on the road, or where did
No,
your inspiration come? How did you come up with all these
well,
murders?
I was always interested in serial killers, and just the thinking behind them, stuff like that. And most of them, they give in to their inhibitions, you know. But and I just decided one day when I started writing, time for a serial killer just came out. I mean the name and everything, and I just started writing it, and I figured,
Mhm.
it would be a good book.
Right.
Hopefully, people enjoy it. That's the main thing. I hope they enjoy it.
Sure.
Um,
Now,
and
sorry to interrupt, but I was
oh,
curious
you're
about
good. You're
something.
good.
You, first of all, I need to hook you up with my friend Tim Johnson, who actually, his father was a serial killer, and he
Oh,
found out. He's been on the show a couple times. Yeah, he's very successful now in life. Does a lot of stuff with kids, but he
good.
found out when he and his mom and I think another sibling, if I'm not mistaken, were watching the news,
Right.
and they flashed that they had gotten their guy, and talked about the different families that he'd murdered, and it was his father. So
Right.
they do really exist, of course. So
Oh
here's the
yeah.
book, Time for a Serial Killer, A Lifetime of Murder by R.K. Mullins. That's who we're here with today, in case you've come in since the top of the hour or since the break. And R.K., one of the, not just an everyday author, but an author who actually could not read until right around the age of 25. And here he is today, a published author. And I got to tell you, that cover is fantastic. That
Well,
cover's got me wanting to read it.
I will have to thank my first publisher that I was with, because they designed that cover. And when they emailed me that cover, I was blown away. And it's the cover itself. If you know what goes on in the book, including all the way down to the ending, the cover tells the entire story.
Really?
Yes, it does.
Okay.
And
Well, hey, note to self: if you're ever out in the forest and you come across a place, remember this fence and remember the look of that house. Don't go anywhere near it.
exactly.
So,
run.
Do you by chance have a copy of the book with you?
No, I do not.
I should have gotten with you early and asked you to have something you could read us an excerpt.
Well, that's not really not really too hard of a job. Hang on just a second. Let's see.
Oh, so you do have some of it there with you on the.
I have it on electronic file. Hang on just.
I would love. I think we all would love to hear a little bit. You could go. You know where to go.
Yes, sir.
And let me ask you this: when you were writing it, did you find yourself writing like day and night, or did you write at nighttime? Because see, it would have scared the crap out of me if I was writing something like that at night. I'd been scared to go to sleep.
It was different times. I mean, I would write at nighttime and daytime. It just whenever I actually had time to sit down and do it.
Okay.
When I would write, and bored with something, or then I would try and go, get into writing and go that route. Dang, damn it!
That's all right. Take your time. Let me ask you another question while you're searching for that. Do you have a routine? Did you do something? I hear a lot of writers when they finish a book, they'll smoke a cigar or have that old aged scotch, or some of them have like a reward system that they do something they do only when they finish a book. Did you start that kind of routine? Because I know you're going to do this series. This is a series, correct? Now, where'd he go? You think a serial killer guy? Now he's still here because he's still on the screen. Oh, there he is.
Yeah, sorry about that.
Okay, so
I was trying to get the PDF file up. Sorry about that.
No, that's okay. I'm glad we didn't lose you. So, did you celebrate with something special? Because this is a series you're writing. There are other books to come.
That is correct. Actually, I had a good drink.
There you go.
I went out.
That's just a natural thing when you finish a book.
Well, not necessarily, but I'm a bourbon fan. I like a good bourbon. I don't like to get drunk, but I just like the flavor of it.
Right.
And I went out.
Roll around on your tongue.
Exactly. I went out and bought one of my favorite ones, Woodford's Reserve.
Okay, so you did do that.
Yeah, and I had a drink. So
okay,
just to celebrate it.
Right.
But
right. So what'd you find?
I did find the PDF file of it.
Okay, and set this up for us. Tell us what we're about. What's happened? Where are we at in the story here?
I think what I'm going to do is get to the spot right there where the janitor and the main character are having a conversation.
The serial killer?
No, actually. No.
Oh, the serial killer is not the main character?
No.
So who is this main character?
The main character is David. He's the author. He's not actually an author. He's a once great criminal reporter who reported on serial killers.
Okay.
And won a Pulitzer Prize for his work and helped catch one. As a matter, I think I'll read that part of it.
Okay.
Instead, because I think you might like that a little bit better. And go that route. Hold on just a second. I'll bring it right up.
No worries. No worries.
This is basically the opening to the book.
Okay.
As David sat alone in the dimly lit office, his mind reveled in his past glories of writing, excellence. Pardon me, my group.
Take your time. We're here.
There we go. I gotta get it to where I can actually see it. I need to get my Dad-burn glasses checked again.
Don't worry about it.
David was a veteran criminal reporter. This entailed digging up information on reporting on the horrors held deep within the darkest recesses of of humanity, rather. The stories he wrote enticed and excited his readers. That's the actual opening, but I want to get
David. I picture David right around early 30s. So now he's pulling something up. So now he's you can probably hear me, but we can't hear him. So if you're watching,
hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you.
There we go. David is actually in his 40s.
Oh, okay.
And there's an actual reason for that. I mean, I don't
spell
out his age. I don't spell out his age, but there's a reason for that. And once the readers read it, they'll get it. I do not do spoilers at all.
Okay, good.
This book has plenty of twists and turns in it. A lot of unexpected things. And the biggest unexpected thing you're going to find is the ending.
Okay. You've got me intrigued. So, were you reading another part, or is that it?
Well, I was going to read about some of his writing as far as the serial killer is concerned.
Yeah, do that. Scare us.
Hang on just a second. All right.
Okay.
Let's see.
Do I look like one of you guys?
Where'd it go? Well, I went down too far, dummy.
Claddies. Okay. Can you hear them, Claddies? Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Good. He preferred young blonde women with shy, introverted personalities. This type of woman would become easy prey for William. For William, he would follow them, learn their habits, learn their likes, dislikes, and important information that would endear them to him through ex- yeah, here we go, through the exclusive. Uh, oh hell,
I don't think that's on the page, but it was good. You know what I want to say to people right here,
what's that?
Keith? I'm really proud of you, because I still see, I can still, of course, because you're completely transparent about the fact that you didn't really start even learning how to read until your mid 20s, and it's still somewhat of a struggle in certain ways. And I know you're put on the spot here in front of everybody here and all that,
Right.
but you know what? I just think that it is one of the greatest examples of perseverance that I've seen in a long, long time. And everybody out there, whatever it is, what speaks the loudest to me about your experience is how even here you push through and over the speed bumps of life, because I don't believe that there are mistakes on this earth, in this universe. I believe that everything that happens to us is a blessing and a miracle that is in the process of becoming.
I have to agree with you. One of my favorite sayings is, we are our past. Everything in our past has shaped who we are today. And people say, well, I'd love to go back and change this, that, and the other thing, right? There's
Mhm.
absolutely nothing in my past I'd ever want to change. Because if I did, I would not be I would not be
Wouldn't
who
be.
I am now.
Amen. I agree 100%. I tell people all the time when they're like, oh, that story, oh, 22 mothers and bloom, bloom, bloom. And I tell them, but the great, I celebrate every one of those women
Oh
for
yes,
playing, they
absolutely.
were each chosen to play a specific role in my
Oh yeah.
story. And the great thing about it is you get to a point, if you keep moving forward, you keep getting over, all you have to do is go through, not get around, not get from underneath it, not climb over. That's wall talk. You got to go through stuff. And when you
Right.
get through it, it is, first you have to go. You have to go into the tunnel in order to get through the tunnel. Once you go, you go in with a G and an O. You come out the other side, you have an R and a W, because it's going to grow. You can't help it. It's impossible not to. Once you grow, now you know something. You're an authority because, look, I came out. I made it. I didn't stay inside. I didn't run out the front and go back out. I came all the way through. So I know something. And then how do you know? You know something because immediately, because of purpose, you can't wait to share it with others. And now you show others how to make it through, how to go through. Because that's the great thing about the through part. An opportunity is a window or a door because you can see through and you can go through. It's those walls that you tell them, get over it, find a way around it. Oh, you'll get from underneath it. You'll come from underneath it. That's wall talk. Those people usually end up saying, I just can't get unstuck. Because you're staying in one spot, right? How do you feel about that?
Well, you said one of the biggest words out there that I really hate, the word can't. And it means this to me. And this is what I taught my children when they were growing up. Can't is another word for you ain't trying hard enough.
Amen.
And I got a buddy of mine. He says he hates change, and he really hates change. So I asked him one day. I said, "Well, why do you hate change so much?" Well, I just don't like things to change. I said, "Every single day things are changing, and
every
your
single
life,
second, right?
every second, So how can you not embrace change? It's a good thing,
That's
Even
right.
if you don't like it, it's still a good thing.
That's right. That's right.
You don't. Life is going to throw you a curveball.
Amen.
Don't let life have fun with you. You have fun with life.
Oh, bell ringer. Listen, RK, everybody, really don't underestimate the power behind this change that we're talking about here. I think it's nothing short of incredible how far you've come, starting in a small coal mining town in Virginia, um, uh, into drugs by the age of 8,
Yep.
not learning how to read until your mid-20s, and here you stand today as a published author. That
Yeah.
is incredible. And talk about what you were speaking of at the end of the base of your bio when you said what you want to do, what's your purpose every day? Because people look at you and they say, look at this big guy smoking his cigarette and driving his big rig. Who would think? Does he look like what the definition of an influencer would be? Absolutely not. But
Yep.
nonetheless, you're doing it. Talk about that if you could.
Well, I mean, an influencer is anyone who wants to take enough time to try to facilitate change in someone else's life,
Mm.
and in a positive manner, in my opinion. And that's what that's what I believe. I live my life by 3 philosophies that I learned from a drunk man. Believe it or not,
Oh,
our towns, one of our towns, winos, Wright Collins. I wrote a short story about that. I just never did publish it. But Wright told me, the 3 philosophies that I live my life by. And one is have fun with life. Don't let life have fun with you.
say
There's
it
a lot of
again.
people have fun with life. Don't let life have fun with you.
Mm.
Don't let the problems of life drag you down to where it ain't fun no more. Basically, turn that around. Have fun
Right.
with it, and then
You
be
did,
all
hold
you.
on. You did.
Yes, sir.
Every time somebody says that on the show, I get to. You said don't
Right.
turn. You said turn that around. My album available any place. Digital downloaded music can be found. CD Baby, Amazon, and more. The album Turn It Around by Loren Michaels Harris. Back to your regularly scheduled program. Every
Very
time
well
somebody says
done,
that, I get to do that.
sir.
So go ahead. Finish the 3 things.
Like I said, the first one is have fun with life, and don't let life have fun with you.
Love it.
The second one is what I really, really live my life by every single day. It's the old Army adage: "Be all you can be."
Amen.
And the thing about it is,
Or Air Force, aim high.
or
I'm Air
any
Force. I'm Air
any of them.
Force. I know.
My hat. I never did serve. My older brother and younger brother served. My hat goes off, and gratitude goes off to every person that ever served.
Amen. Same here.
And
what's number 3?
well, number 3. Let me go back to that one again. Let's see. Do what feels right and good, as long as it doesn't hurt you or anyone else.
I love them.
Right.
I love them.
But
1 and 3 are my favorites.
Well, be all you can be is my favorite.
See there?
Because and this is the reason why the Army and the Air Forces, they took it one step. I take it to the other step. Be all you can be. How many of you are there? Exactly. So you have to be the positive and the negative at all times, correct? Most people do not realize that. And when they do realize that and they follow the philosophy behind it and figure that, the mistakes they make in life or the accomplishments they have in life, it's all on them. You're doing your job. You're the best person at your job. It doesn't matter if somebody else is doing a job like yours. They're not doing your job because you're the one doing it.
That's right. That's right.
So you have to be the best at it, right?
I get it. I now am looking at number 2 in a different way because of you. So I thank you for that. So my final question is, in your travels around the country, on the road as a long haul driver, do kids still look at you when you're driving past and go?
They absolutely do.
Good to know, because I used to love that.
Every time a child does that, I will immediately pull that horn. If an adult does it, I kind of ignore them. But every child gets that horn. That's all there is to it.
It just gives it. I still remember how wonderful that. I used to back then. I could fit in you could ride in the back window if you
Right.
you're a little kid, and I couldn't wait. And I'd get down on the seat if they were passing it and do it. And when they would do it, it just felt good that something big in the world saw a little one and acknowledged it. A little person.
Exactly.
And it
Every child out there that ever passes a rig, please do that. Get the rig to blow their horn at you. If they don't, then I'm sorry, they don't need to be behind the wheel, in my opinion.
I heard that. Here, I want to put it on the screen. I want everyone to see. That is the link on Facebook to the book page. Time for a Serial Killer. Get over and check out some of the comments, reviews. There's a link there for you, or information on how to go to Amazon and get your copy. And tell us it's available in Kindle and also print. Correct?
Correct.
Okay. And again, this isn't just a regular book by a regular author. You really, really have done much to show us that it's never too late. And I'm just so grateful for you. I really am. I'm grateful to our mutual friend, Tucker Bearden, for introducing us. Yes, for introducing us. And I can't wait to read the book and all of the subsequent members of the series that are yet to come. Anything you'd like to say to the audience in closing? We got about 1 more minute.
Well, if anybody ever thinks it's too late for anything, it ain't too late until you're dead.
There you go. And I want to say this in closing. This is the final paragraph of R.K. Mullins's bio, which he sent us. And he says, Time for a Serial Killer is my debut book, and I live my life by the Be All You Can Be philosophy. I want to show others how this can help them in their lives and business. And so I thank you for that. And it is about being of service to others. And you've shown me a place in the world where I would have never expected to find a fellow influencer. It lets us know. Never say never. And don't say who will and who won't, because you'll never get it right. Thank you so much. Anytime you want to come back, you let me know. Thank you for gracing us today and blessing us with your story and proof of what can be. We really appreciate it.
I really appreciate you having me on your show, Loren.
Amen.
I've really enjoyed it. It's been fun.
Thank you. Same here. So have a great day. Be safe out there, okay?
Always.
All right. Thank you, my man.
Thank you, sir.
Mm-hmm. So R.K. Mullins, what a story. What a story. Beauty from ashes. It's a wonderful thing. Turning bankrupt into beauty. Another one. Just really wonderful. I want to thank each and every one of you for joining us here today on today's episode, Thursday, of Bathrobe Moments. I'm your host, Loren Michaels Harris, and as always, I leave you with this. Get up, get out, stand up, stand out. Get out there and do what it is we do. We love up on everyone that we possibly can in every situation that comes our way. All we have to do is look at it from top to bottom, bottom to top, side to side, side to side, corner to corner, and corner to corner. That's how we leave it, better than we found it. And when you do that, you've done it all. Remember, you can never be the blessing until you can see the blessing. Have a great day. Join me back here tomorrow morning when Demisha Merchant, a new cover model for Hollywood, Heart of Hollywood Motion Pictures, will join us to talk about her brand new opportunity in life. Thank you, and be safe.